Welcome all Transformers fans everywhere. We are back with Chapter 9 of our series, Transformers Leadership. If you're tuning in for the first time, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and catch up on the story from the very beginning to fully understand the current events. Now, fasten your seatbelts, and let's find out together who will become the new leader of the Autobots after Alpha Trion. Let's dive in. The episode begins in the main council chamber at the Autobot base. Everyone is present. The atmosphere is charged with tension. Massive screens display the names of the candidates, Ultra Magnus, Elita One, and Sentinel, while the Autobots watch closely. Then, Elita One raises her hand, speaking in a confident voice. Before we begin, I have one final nomination. I nominate Orion Pax to lead the Autobots. A loud murmur echoes through the chamber from the voters. Sentinel mutters grumbly, "A late nomination? Is that even allowed?" Elita One answers him firmly. According to the Cybertron Constitution, nominations are permitted as long as the voting windows have not yet closed. Hot Rod turns toward Drawforge beside him and says in a low but clear voice, "Orion Pax, the soldier who couldn't even pass Sentinel's trial? You're joking, right?" Drawforge speaks calmly. "I don't think Elita jokes about something like this. She doesn't nominate anyone unless she studied them well." Smokescreen cuts in from behind with his usual mocking smile. "This is the first time I've ever seen Elita One give up her own nomination for someone else. Orion must have done something remarkable during those interrogations to convince her like that." Hot Rod falls silent for a moment, then speaks with less sarcasm. "Maybe, but trust alone doesn't make a leader, Smokescreen." Drawforge replies seriously, "And doubt alone doesn't disprove it." Wheeljack steps into the conversation. "You're talking about Orion's failure in Sentinel's trials as if it were real weakness. Let me tell you something no one knew." "What do you mean?" Hot Rod asks. Wheeljack then tells the story. "I went through the old training records once, back when I worked with Sentinel during that period. Orion's performance in combat and tactical simulations surpassed most of those who passed the trial. He lacked nothing to pass, but he deliberately held back at the last moment, again and again." Drawforge asks with an investigator's seriousness, "Deliberately failed? Why would an ambitious soldier do that?" "Because passing meant joining a combat unit and moving away from Alpha Trion," Wheeljack answers. "Orion wasn't looking for a rank or a sword to raise in battle. He wanted to stay by his mentor's side, learning from him every day, recording every word he said about history, wisdom, and ancient Cybertron." Smokescreen falls silent for a moment, his usual sarcastic tone gone. "So this whole time, we thought he was the weakest among us, when he was the one choosing the harder path with his own hands?" "Exactly," Wheeljack replies. "Orion never failed, gentlemen. He simply chose to be a student before being a soldier." We see Ultra Magnus watching Orion Pax in silence with sharp, intense stares, while the latter remains completely calm. Ultra Magnus says, "Are you truly going to nominate someone this week to lead the bots? His chances of winning are almost non-existent." Bumblebee looks at Orion and asks curiously, "Will you accept the nomination?" With this, all eyes turn toward Orion Pax, who steps forward with confident strides, then speaks calmly. "I did not ask for this leadership, but if the need demands that I be the voice of reason and justice in a time of chaos, so be it. I will not be the leader who shouts from the top of platforms, but the one who fights in the field, carrying the weight of his decisions, no matter the cost." A moment of silence covers the room, which quickly turns into cheering inside the hall by Bulkhead, who shouts, "This is our leader, Orion Pax!" Bumblebee and Whirl are seen raising their hands alongside Bulkhead, chanting, "Long live Orion Pax, our leader!" "Discipline! This is an election, not a party, you fools!" Ultra Magnus barks at them. The three instantly freeze in their places. Bulkhead says in a whisper, "He always ruins our fun." Despite all these preparations, the bots still haven't figured out how to conduct the voting process. Sentinel asks, "Does anyone have an idea how the voting will actually take place?" Ratchet suggests an idea previously documented by Alpha Trion in one of his records, saying, "This process was recorded by Alpha Trion in the archives after Galvatron's surrender and the cessation of the war. Voting is not done solely via electronic ballots. Instead, every soldier has 2 votes. The first is a technical vote recorded electronically, and the second is a symbolic vote represented by physically standing behind the candidate they trust. Let everyone vote electronically first, then physically walk and stand behind whoever they see fit for this mission. Ultra Magnus says, "Excellent. This method is beautiful and satisfactory to me. What about the two of you? What is your opinion?" Orion and Sentinel agree to the proposal. The electronic voting begins, and right after, the division starts. The crowds begin moving behind each candidate. The wreckers, the scouts, and the security forces head behind Ultra Magnus. The female bots, except for Elita, gather behind Sentinel. The rest stand behind Orion Pax. As for Elita One, by withdrawing her own nomination in favor of Orion, she steps out of the race and is not eligible to vote. With this, everyone has chosen their side, and the final results are displayed on the screen. Ultra Magnus, 46%. Orion Pax, 42%. Sentinel, 12%. Ultra Magnus smiles and says, "Exactly as expected. No one else deserves this great position but me." Following this, Dropforge announces, "Therefore, the new leader of the Autobots and successor to Alpha Trion is Ultra Magnus Prime." All the soldiers salute Ultra Magnus, while Orion's team looks upset by the outcome. Bulkhead whispers to Bumblebee, "What do you think? Did he really deserve this win?" Bumblebee answers him, "I don't know, Bulkhead." Ratchet says to them, "It seems things are about to take a completely different turn." Meanwhile, Ultra Magnus looks at Orion with a sharp expression and says, "I didn't expect all of this from you, Orion. You command quite a bit of loyalty among the squads, and because of it, you almost defeated us." Orion answers him, "It is fine. Leadership is not measured by winning, but by what you do once you obtain it." Ultra Magnus says, "And what would you have done if you won, other than causing our defeat? The traitor was close to you, and you know it." Orion Pax responds, "But I didn't nominate myself to win. Rather, I did it to remind them that leadership is not measured by numbers, but by impact. And as for Brawl, if he were a traitor, I would have known it from the very beginning." Ultra Magnus scoffs mockingly. Beautiful words. But they don't manage front lines, nor do they settle battles. Orion turns to him and says, "And did you think leadership is a sword to be raised or a shield to be carried? Leadership, Magnus, is to listen before you command, to bow before you are lifted, and to bear the blame before you receive the glory." Ultra Magnus answers in a serious tone, "And you? Do you see yourself as a leader? One who stays silent in councils and hesitates in wars?" Orion replies, "A true leader is not the one who speaks the most, but the one who thinks the most. I do not want to be led by pride, nor do I want to lead with anger. For you, leadership is a strict duty. For me, it is a moral responsibility." Ultra Magnus asks, "And do you think that in wars, we win by wisdom alone?" Orion retorts, "No, but we are defeated when it is absent." Ultra Magnus says, "Keep your wisdom, Orion, for I am about to test its strength very soon." Orion concludes, "And I will be there, if the sword falls, to lift it up, not to condemn the one who carried it." Then, he leaves Ultra Magnus to his vanity and walks back to his team. In the background, Sentinel is deeply annoyed and angered by the election results. He says to himself, "Fortunately, we have a backup plan." And that brings us to the end of Chapter 9, guys. Ultra Magnus is now the new leader of the Autobots. But as you saw, tension is in the air, and Orion Pax delivered words that will stick with us for a long time. Most importantly, what is this backup plan that Sentinel is hiding in the shadows? Share your theories in the comments below. Will Ultra Magnus succeed in leading the bots? And what is Sentinel planning to do? Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned for the next chapter because things are about to get crazy. Take care, and see you next time.